Hey guys. All right. Well, I hope that you guys had a uh, as good of a holiday season as you could. I hope that you got some moments of love, some real moments of specialness, and I just hope that there were some really great opportunities of growth and healing for you and stuff like that. So, anyway, so let's talk about one of those super fun ways that we tend to grow emotionally the most, and that's through emotional hurricanes. That's just the best way I can explain it. Um, Emotional hurricanes are those situations that we have that happen in our lives where it just brings out, it's just one of the most difficult moments that we have that we go through. Emotional hurricanes can be caused by anything, but it's a big thing that there's just no getting around it. So for example, like your mother passes away, or your sisters goes through a divorce, or it's your birthday, or something like that, where it triggers this emotional hurricane. Now, the thing I think about hurricanes, which is emotional hurricanes, which is really important to kind of understand, is that we usually see them coming, or we know that they're going to come. It's a matter of time. It's not if, but when. um, and we see them coming because they are really big and they are really notable. Uh, they also, um, they're also in our path, and there's no way getting around it. No amount of going no contact with your family is going to change them. They're coming, and they're going to go through, and that's really it. And that these are situations where they don't pass quickly. And because they don't pass quickly, or because they are so big, the emotional hurricane kind of just hangs out over you and just churns and churns and churns and churns. So it could be days, it could be weeks, could be months, who knows, before it'll finally really dissipate. And everything, and it's just those situations where it's going to take everything in you to endure it. It's going to take everything in you to handle it, on an emotional level, because no matter what happens in an emotional hurricane, it's going to be either messy to downright destructive, um, in people's lives. And I think the reason why is because, why it can vary so much is because really the power and magnitude of an emotional hurricane is completely based on us, and how much we can or cannot, are how much we are prepared for it or not prepared for it, and stuff like that. And also too, I think, like, how much we try to manage it, and handle it, because that is the one thing, with the weather. We can't control the weather, obviously in a hurricane, but we can control an emotional hurricane to an extent, um, but I know it's a struggle to even control it, because it can just become so much bigger than us, and I think it's because a lot of times it is our ego, or our emotional, or I know some people call it sinful nature or whatever, that is controlling, that is really fueling it, and stuff. So, um, and while situations will trigger it, like, your mom says something awful, or, this or this happens, whatever it is, like, it's the emotional, and I think this is what's hard about it to get around our heads, but we have to, is that the emotional hurricane is really propelled by us, and stuff like that, ultimately. Um, so for me, the holidays is my annual hurricane. honestly. It is. It's like hurricane season for me. It happens starting pretty much November all the way through December. Easy. Um, and and I try to actually consciously prepare like all year for it. I'm not lying. I think about what I'm learning, what I'm growing, how I'm healing. I'm thinking about like the people that I put in my life, the all that kind of stuff. Like I think about that, especially like come like August or September. As soon as fall kicks in, I'm thinking about like how am I going to get through the 8 weeks of holidays, um, and be able to let it just be a messy season and not destructive. Um, and so I think that what like we do is we put into place during between the times of emotional hurricanes is we put in place structures in our lives, things to keep us grounded and so that we don't get like completely sucked up into the hurricane of pain and stuff that we experience, because the last thing we need is to obviously not just relive the emotional abuse that we went through, but to even make it worse, and stuff like that during those emotional hurricanes. So anyway, yeah. And so so I had put into place some structures before the holiday season kicked in. Like I started going to improv. I started taking an improv class, and I started to because I knew that if I had to go at least every Sunday and laugh, that would be awesome. Um, I financially, thank goodness, I was in a good place, or am in, a pretty decent place. So that's been a wonderful little positive as well. Um, then I also put in, friendships, and I kind of cleaned out some friendships. I turned to friendships that or and things like that, and um, you know, some friendships were great, others were not as much. I think I know you saw, you might have seen a couple of weeks ago. I did a video about overcompensating with religion because one of my best friends had um, we just had this really difficult time with that, and we actually have patched that up, which is good to an extent, but um, her life has drastically changed. And so having that friend that I needed or that I relied on before is not going to happen quite the same. And it's going to be very, very little to none. I don't know, I definitely have fears around that. Yeah, because she just can't be available at this point. Like, nearly like what she could have before. She's got way too much going on, and things have shifted. Her mindset has shifted, and her time and all that stuff. So all of this happened, like, of course, right, really before, the right at the beginning of December. So that really sucked because obviously some expectations and some needs that I needed, that would have involved her just did not happen or weren't met. And so that's been incredibly painful. Um, and just other people who I really wanted in my life in different ways who just can't be or aren't, or things like that, and so, yeah, so I would say those people, and that's what's so hard is that when you're going through an emotional hurricane, you have to rely on other people to help you. And when you don't have an those the right people in place, um, it makes it really hard. It makes it incredibly hard, and it's just a matter of time before it doesn't quite work out. That's really what it is. I think I just need to be honest about that. Like like I did well, I think, up until this week. Even Christmas I did well, but that's because thank God my one of my other dearest long-term friends, was back in town, and so I spent, Christmas Eve with her and her family, and that was really great. Um, Christmas Day, it was just very chilled. And then day after Christmas, I spent with a new good friend, which was great, and I went to and then I went and had a massage, and that was awesome. So, anyway, yeah. Sorry, my dog just walked into the room. Hello, baby. I know. Hello. You want to come up? You want to come up? Anyway, so so that was great, but this last week sucked. I'll just be honest, and because it's just, again, it's that hurricane churns, and even though you've got your support for as long as you do, it's stuff's gonna come, stuff's gonna it's just gonna keep going and going and going, and so um yeah, and so without reinforcements of structure, um yeah, it's gonna get to you, and it got to me this week. Starting Monday, I just could not shake not feeling like crap. Um and I got insomnia in a way that it just would not let up at all. No matter what I did, no matter how much I prayed, no matter how much I tried to rely on different things and different ways of and just get my mind off of stuff. I couldn't even me getting my mind off of just my struggles, with the holidays and the loss of my family, and how the loss of my siblings, the um, just being feeling so alone, and even just not allowing myself to think through thoughts about guilt or anger. My body just held it, and it would not let it go, and so, like, I could not fall asleep Monday through Wednesday. I couldn't fall asleep anytime earlier than about 4 a.m. It was just crazy, and that just never happened to me before. And so really what I needed during that time was certain friends who I've been depending on to really kind of be there for me, and people who, I love to step in and stuff, but they've all been too busy and not available, and and I even turned to and so so because of all of this, and because once December hit, best friend and I just weren't really talking at this point, so I lost a lot from that. I was like, oh crap, like, okay, now I've got to try to build some new structure in my life, even in the middle of an emotional hurricane. And I'll just be honest, that just rarely works out. And the reason why is it's like a physical hurricane, when you get the wind blowing a million miles an hour and you're trying to build a new wall, like, it's not typically it doesn't go well. It's the same with that too, So what I tried to do was I tried to jump into like a spiritual community or something like that, because I've been trying to figure out my spiritual life and figure out how to get back into community. And so when I lost my, best friend, I was like, I just gotta, okay, I'm gonna just jump into something, and that just has not been working out quite how I hoped it would, and of course it's hard because when you're emotional, you're too emotional to really make good decisions, around that, and to think through that well and stuff. So yeah, so there's a really, really good chance that I'm not going to be staying with this community, and kind of some painful moments have happened with it, actually, and I'm really disappointed in that, and you know, um, and stuff, and it's just kind of like, wow, like, I just, yeah, it's just not good, So, anyway, yeah, so just, so it just kind of hits, I think, with emotional hurricanes. What happens is you batten down the hatches, and you get through it with everything that you've got, and hope it doesn't get hope that you can endure it and stuff. And and I felt like, I guess, honestly, I did a pretty decent job getting through it up until Monday through yesterday. um by yesterday, though, like, because it just was so hard, and I just, like, like, my it just, everything just kind of came out, by yesterday. And so I just felt it all again. The pain of my childhood, the pain of my of all I've lost, the pain of what I don't have yet, but want so desperately. Pain of the things that are in my life that just haven't worked out the way I wanted it to, or needed it to. Um, you know, um, it really did. It brought out that horrible, horrible, sick feeling that I think that those of us who've gone through emotional abuse understand, which is the whole, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, um, nobody's ever gonna want me. No, I don't. I'm never gonna really be loved. I'm too damaged. I'm too this. I'm too that. And why am I even around? Like, if this is how it's always going to be, why am I even here? And stuff like that. Oh, I love those feelings. They're the worst, of course, ever. And you just get mad at everyone and everything, and just everything just feels awful and not right, and it's absolutely bitter and angry and blaming and all that stupid stuff. And to me, that's when I think, like, in the emotional hurricane, that's when you lose control. That's when it's like, whatever you've built up, it's just going away, and you're just holding on, and you're just like, look, I'm just gonna survive just one breath, 1 hour, whatever, at a time, until I get through this season. Because at least that's the nice thing about emotional hurricanes, is they do pass, they do go away, and stuff like that. And um they lose momentum, but at times, and I think at other times it seems like they get faster, speed up. But they do go away. Like, the season goes away. Like, for me, for sure, like, the fact that the holidays are over, and so the rest of the entire world is back to, um, getting back to work, getting back to the daily routine. I love the daily routine so much more than the holidays, vastly more than the holidays, for sure. Because they can be managed, they can be handled, and stuff like that. You know, um, I don't mind even, like, short holidays, because if I end up having to spend them alone, like, I know I can handle that. But I'm telling you, man, that whole, like, damn 8 weeks of Thanksgiving to, Christmas is just, to New Year's, is just brutal for me. And anyway, but yeah, but I guess overall it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and stuff. So yeah, and so now what is happening is, now I'm just assessing the damage. I think that's part of emotional hurricanes is, you assess what worked, and you assess what didn't work. Um, and and obviously, because it's emotional, it's the emotional stuff, the emotional strength, the things that we put into our lives, the things that we expect. I think the big thing about it is expectations. Like, what did I expect to work and what didn't, and stuff like that. What do I do in the future? Um, and stuff like that. So yeah, so looking back, what I wish I would have done, first off, is I wish I wouldn't have trusted that friends would be there, um, as much. Everyone's busy, everyone has their lives. I get it. you know. I think what I wish I would have done instead was, um, and while jumping into a new spiritual, community or a new community, hasn't been it hasn't been a great solution either. I wish what I would have done is gone to counseling and just scheduled to meet with my therapist like every week, or something like that instead. I think that would have been really helpful because I know he is great. I can count on. He's there. He's showing up, and I can always come away with a lot more support. I feel like, and stuff. So yeah, I wish I would have done that for sure too. Um, and I will be, because I do. I need to hang out with Justin for a bit and talk to him about all of this. And I think the other thing too I need to do is just celebrate that I got through it, because I think that's the thing with hurricanes is, emotional hurricanes is it's just it's crisis. You feel weak, you feel out of control, and interestingly, actually, the Chinese symbol for crisis is actually opportunity riding on a dangerous wind. And I think that that's definitely how this time is that it does. It's dangerous, it's unpredictable. You feel out of control, you feel weak, um, and stuff like that. And, but it really has been a season that has made you stronger. You know, um, every holiday I get stronger. Every holiday I develop something new that I haven't before. I figure something out. I get wiser. I get smarter. I learn who to trust and who not to trust. I learn um, how to trust myself more, and I think too, what's interesting was this, what I think made the last few days so hard is because I've gotten so much more I've built so much more self-love in myself that the fact that things I know things are coming in my life. I know at some point I'm going to get married. Like I know at some point business is going to have a big breakthrough. I know I'm going to have a family at some point in my life. But I think the more I love myself, like it's actually like the more at times like it's almost harder, because you're like, wow, like I'm getting so much better at this. I'm believing that I deserve this stuff so much more that it's just making the fact that I don't have it right now a little bit more intense. And so it's actually a good thing. It's a healthy thing actually that I'm having these harder moments because my heart, mind, and body really are starting to believe that I deserve what I know I deserve, and stuff like that. So, whew, I'm starting to ramble. All right. But yeah, so emotional hurricanes. What are yours? Um, I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on all of this. Any advice that you have too, or anything like that would be great as well. And yeah, I hope that um, you as well, if you went through your own version of an emotional hurricane this holiday, share it. Like I think the more that we all hear from each other about what's going on, how we're processing and learning and figuring this stuff out, the more encouraged we all are. I know I get encouraged whenever I hear from you guys who are like, yes, I'm going through the same thing. I'm like, sweet. Not sweet, but sweet. I'm glad to know that I'm not alone, and stuff like that. So, anyway, yeah. So, I hope you have a great new first year of 2016. And I truly pray and truly believe that we're all going to come out of this as we get ready for the next new year, an even stronger, better, wiser, and more inhabited selves. You know what I mean. So, all right. Have a great day.